Ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
Ready.
In 3, 2.
Good morning, Columbus, and welcome to another edition of From Our House to Your Home, the Remodelers Showcase. My name's Marty Reed. I'm your host, and the show is brought to you by Frog Hauling. If you want to clean your garage, your basement, your yard, whatever, get rid of all that clutter, give Frog Hauling a call. And if you're a remodeling contractor, and only the best product will do for your customer, think of Frog Hauling. We carry 5 different sizes of containers, so you never pay for more container than you need. Good morning, Columbus. Okay, as everybody knows, it's a remodeling show. We bring on remodelers, we bring on product suppliers, but we also bring on realtors. And today we have a realtor with us, Jennifer Kessel-White with Keller Williams, Upper Arlington, right?
Yes, Keller Williams Classic Properties. Hi, Marty. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And why do I bring on realtors? Because I get people all the time that say, should I buy my home? Should I sell my home? Should I remodel my home? What's going on in the real estate market? And so I guess, me being a simpleton, somehow real estate is associated with remodeling. Fair?
I think that's fair to say.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about, I warned Jennifer, I'm going to put her on the spot here.
Yeah, he has.
I'm
so excited.
I'm gonna give her a loaded question, but prior to that, I get to put you on the spot this way. All my guests have to introduce themselves, and don't say I'm a realtor. You get to talk about who you are, so they get to know a little bit about you. I don't care if you tell them you like crocheting. Go ahead.
I do not like crocheting. My name is Jennifer Kessel-White, and what I do like is being an entrepreneur. I see myself more than a real estate agent as a business owner. I own a multi-million-dollar business. It happens to be in real estate. And what I focus on is helping people make their dreams come true. And I know that sounds kind of corny and or cheesy, but really what it is I want to focus on helping people and building relationships. So introduce me to all of the strange people. Introduce me to the quirkier, the better. Marty, that's probably why I like you a little bit right now.
Yeah, okay, I'm the quirky.
You're growing on me. But I really, really, really appreciate getting to know people that I never would have come in contact with before. That's my favorite thing in this business. I've grown so many relationships and connected so many people. I just feel like you're able to really introduce others to opportunities through real estate. So more so than selling homes and buying homes, it's definitely a people building business.
That's my business. That's all businesses.
Yeah.
Unless you can establish trust with people, you're not going to be in business very long. Trust comes from doing a good job for them, right? Okay. I said I was going to put you on the spot, but first, I think it's important for people that might be thinking of buying or selling to first define how hot the Columbus marketplace is. In other words, if we go across the country and we rank, cities, for a while it was Austin, Texas, still is a hot city. They're top 10 in home sales. Where does Columbus rank?
Number 1 throughout the nation.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Really, it's truthful. Hottest city throughout the nation right now for real estate. Just a total influx of growth in Columbus, an extreme need for homes, and a little bit of a lack of enough homes versus the growth that the city is seeing. So it's a seller's market at this time. However, it's extremely smart to buy, and I know you're going to ask me why, so we'll talk about it whenever you're ready, but yes, it is the market.
Well, I told Jennifer I wouldn't buy a house in this market before we started the show. And we're going to get into that. But,
I can't wait.
But, one of the things that I don't know, I own a business, so I'm happy that Columbus is growing, right? It always means that there's a new customer out there for me. And you don't want to, when you own a business, be in a stagnant marketplace. But the other thing, being a Columbus resident, and I'm not going to tell you how many years, but a long time.
Right.
It kind of saddens me to see what's going on in Columbus.
Why?
Well, because to me, Columbus was a great kept secret, the quality of life. Now I get on the freeway and it's bumper to bumper. I get crazy.
No.
I have to, being an old dog, I have to adjust to this, okay?
I think it's a hidden gem. I'm from New York City originally.
Okay.
I lived there for the first 18 years of my life. I don't need to say how old I am, but I will say that I just hit the mark where I've lived in Columbus longer than I have in New York.
Okay.
So, and honestly, I remember when I moved here when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I love to tell this short but true story.
Sure.
I got off the highway, and it was right downtown where the fire station is on 4th. And I stopped because I wasn't exactly sure where I was. This is before cell phones with GPS and all. Oh man, we're dating ourselves so bad, Marty.
Yes, okay.
But what I did was I asked the fire station, the firefighters were standing outside, and I just said, "Hey, I just moved here. I know that I'm in Columbus, but can you tell me what part?" And they said, "You're downtown Columbus." And I said, "Perfect. Being from New York City, I'm probably going to want to stay uptown. Can you just tell me where uptown is?" And they were like, "Oh, honey." And I was just like, "Well, you guys don't have uptown." I mean, so when I moved here, the city was quiet as can be.
Yeah.
On the weekends. There was nobody in the streets downtown. I mean, and just seeing the change is so impressive. It's a great growing city, and I love what Columbus is doing. I couldn't be more proud to say that I'm from here.
Oh, same here.
Yeah.
I'm a big supporter, especially because I raised 4 sons, and they're going to be in a vibrant city. But they're kind of like that too, you know. They'll make. I won't go there because there's too much traffic. It's too busy.
Right.
But that's just all part of good stuff. Okay. So now let's get to what I really want to talk about. I told Jennifer that I have a son who's currently shopping to buy a house. It's probably been about 6 months. And the only way to describe this would be frustrated.
Right.
And my advice to him, and I want you to prove me wrong, because I know a lot of buyers out there that are probably feeling like we are. Forget it, we're not buying. It has nothing to do with the interest rate. There is a craziness out there. You go and look at a house, and it's first day on the market. We're taking final bids by 7 p.m. tonight. You go, what? I'm not interested. I don't operate this way. That's not smart business. Just everything about this crazy market. So now you get to tell people why I'm wrong.
Okay. So imagine last year. Well, let's think about last year.
Okay.
In this month last year, the market was just as crazy. Actually, I would say quite a bit more insane.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was there were lines out the door for open houses and all the good things like that. Multiple offers, as usual, must be in by Saturday, reviewing on Sunday, highest and best. But what we're seeing from that is if you purchased a year ago, what would your home be worth today?
Good
An
point.
extra $10,000.
Okay.
I mean, just from living in it 1 year, you got to reap the rewards of owning your own home. But also, instead of paying someone else's mortgage, you're paying your own, dropping down the amount that you owe, and now you have an increased amount of equity for 1 year. I know multiple people that have lived in their home for 3 years and are making $40,000 to $50,000 when on a sale. So there's a different way to look at things. I'm thinking of iPhones. The newest iPhone comes out, and you want to be on the top of the curve. You're going to stand in line and get it and make sure that you're just really getting that iPhone right away. And then all of a sudden, everybody realizes, oh, the iPhone's out. It's good. They're getting great reviews. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy it too. We're all going to go get the iPhone right away. But you're more on the latent terms of saying, and I'm hitting a little bit of a Simon Sinek right here.
Sure.
But you're on the latent terms of saying, I'm going to wait it out. By the time that you buy, it's going to be too late. You're not going to hit that equity state. You're going to be on the negative side of the curve.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense. Now, I'll give you a counter argument to what you said.
Let's do that.
Okay. She came loaded for bear today, folks. Somebody must have warned her that I'm a really nice guy.
No.
Okay. My counter argument to that is, and I'm going to go back to, because it'll paint a picture, 2008. Now, I don't anticipate 2008 again. But one of the issues is, I think I said this, it's like, I invest in stock. I would never buy at the top of the market because I look at it and go, the economy always changes. And when you have a downturn, prices go down.
Who says this is the top of the market, though? You? I mean, in all reality, how do you know the top of the market isn't in 3 years from now? You know that could be 100% of a change.
Okay.
And not to mention that in Columbus, we tend, because of where we're located, to get hit last. So think of 2008. Think of the financial crisis. Think of where we hit. So the biggest cities on the coast get hit first. We're straight smack in the middle. Our effect is much less than the others. And by the time we're hitting this effect, it's starting to turn again. So for me, when I think the market is everyone says, is the market going to crash? And I'm like, you know what I think is going to happen? It may get fair again. Maybe there'll be a time when you don't have 17 offers. You have 1 or 2. And maybe there'll be a time when a seller takes time to put some work into the sale of their house rather than their real estate agent taking some iPhone pictures and throwing it up on the internet. You know what I'm saying? You're looking at these homes. So maybe worst case scenario is we just balance each other out and it's a fair housing market instead of a crash.
Okay. You win.
God, I love you.
Well, I'll be fair. One of the things that I remember when my son first went out, started looking, he was just, after about 2 weeks, just totally frustrated.
Right.
He said, I'm done. And I was the one who said to him, no, you're not. A wise buyer is educated. And I go, if you tell me you're done, you'll never be educated.
Right.
And that means that what I want you to do is to continually go out in search. And when the right deal comes in your mind through your investigation, you'll know when to pull the trigger. But unless you're out there looking and unless you're out there active, you can complain all you want. You'll never know what's going on in the market, truly
right.
know. So I hid that from you, but he's still out there looking. I told you I went Sunday to actually last week I looked at 3 houses with him. And he brings me along every now and then and says, what do you think? Now, really let the cat out of the bag. I owned about 800 properties at one time. So when it comes to me being able to walk into a property,
you're very educated.
I walk in and I start looking up and I go in the basement, and let's say I go into an old neighborhood, I'm looking at if there's cracks in the basement floor and water's coming up. I go through everything. Okay, so that's why he brings me along, because he knows and I'm educating him. So, that's kind of what my background is. I used to own 100+ unit apartment complexes.
I want to take you with me on a few showings, so I can learn some of the knowledge you have. That sounds amazing, honestly.
I started buying properties for years, and it wasn't a full-time thing. It was I would just buy real estate constantly, and then about, when was it, 2000, I did it full time, and I would buy 3, 5, 7 houses a month.
Wow.
And most of them are rehab. So anyways, but what we got to take a break here, and what we're gonna do, we are gonna come back, and I think one of the most important things, at least through my experience, is how do you pick the right realtor? How do you know what that realtor should be doing for you? So now I want you to tell everybody when we get back why you're the right realtor.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll be right back. See, Michael do that.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, I sold, I can't even remember. I'm getting so damn old.
You don't have any more left?
sold everything. I had, I started selling right before the crash, and I owned all kind of crap. I had probably, at that time, 180 Section 8 houses also.
Mm.
And
I would never want to mess with that. Oh boy.
if you do it right, you can't do it right anymore.
Mm.
The way I used to do it is I never bought a property unless I built $15,000 in profit in it
Wow.
at the very purchase. And then I would finance them for 80% of their appraised value, okay? So then, when I got ready to sell them, I would bundle them and sell the dream. You know, people go, I want to do what you do. Okay, great, here, I got 25 properties, I'll bundle them. And I could raise the price on the properties at the back end too. Didn't matter, I didn't care, because I already took my money up front on the refinance. I made sure when I refinanced, our goal was $15,000 in our pocket, okay? I would bundle those, they could go, get all the appraisals that they needed, and they would turn around and have very little money down, if anything, to take over my 25 dogs, okay? So that was that game.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. 3, 2.
Welcome back, everyone. Once again, we're talking with Jennifer Kessel-White of Keller Williams. I forgot this. Classic Properties.
So good.
I didn't do a commercial for you. Okay.
Let's talk about it later. After this is done. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, most important thing. I mean, I do this every day. Why use frog hauling? Okay? It is, you know, I tell people why I'm the right dumpster company, why people should be using our company, why we're different. Tell us, because I think a lot of people have this question. You know, when you get to real estate, people, you know, they might sell a house after 15, 20 years. I need a real estate agent. Who should I call? A lot of that goes on. What makes a good real estate agent? What should they be looking for?
Okay, so for buyers and sellers, there's two different types of agents you should 100% be looking for. In this market, for a buyer's agent, we have to be extremely unique and think outside the box. I hate to give away all my tips and techniques, but I will give away a few of them.
Okay.
And one of them is, I always ask my clients, okay, we get maybe a month or so, however long you need, to go look around and see if we can get something that you're interested in right away. And if the market dictates that we can win the bid, great. But if not, I need you to tell me what neighborhood you like, what subdivision you love. Because guess what? We're knocking doors. And when we say we, I mean me.
Mm-hmm.
And literally knocking doors with a pre-approval letter in my hand. Hi, I have a client. They need a house. As I'm sure you know, the housing market is a little intense right now.
Right.
Here's their pre-approval letter. They love this neighborhood. Here's a little bit about them. Are you thinking of selling in the near future? Well, and they say, well, I wasn't, but I mean, I can, or I kind of was thinking about it. Great. Do you mind if I take my client through a walkthrough, and if they're interested, we can discuss further. And that's something that you can do to get your client a home that's not currently on the market and subside all of the intense bidding wars. The only risky factor of that is you honestly don't know if there is a case where somebody, if their home is worth looking at, and you don't know if your client's going to love it. And it's not going to be in its best condition as it would be when it hits the market for those pretty photos.
Sure.
But you're going to be ahead of the game. So there's that. That's one thing. Having an agent that is always looking out to get you in the best position. Thinking outside the box with writing offers. That's something we do all the time. What is the most appealing thing for the seller? Do they need to be out of their house in a certain time? Do they care more about closing costs? How can we make this deal work where they find it the most attractive? It's not always about money. Sometimes it's about time frame. It could be about a lot of different things. So
Okay. So that's the buyer. Now the seller agent.
Okay, so I love listing homes.
Sure.
I really do. I just go through and I am queen of the don't shoot the messenger, but I literally go through and have a big notepad, line down the middle, everything that's great, everything that needs changed, and then go over it with them and really tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you what the buyer's eyes are looking for. Do not blame me, but I feel like I can stage a home so good to get it sold. And that doesn't mean me staging it with furniture. I mean saying, hey, pull all of your curtains down and replace them with sheer white curtains. Everything, all the linens need to be fresh and white and bright colors. Here's what you're doing with your flooring. Make sure you're getting there's simple things like make sure you're getting your carpet clean, but are you thinking of the other things like the first picture that everybody sees is the front of your house? What does your mailbox look like? What does your front door look like? Put some flowers out there. Why is your welcome mat 3 years old and like fringed?
Mm-hmm.
That's the first picture. They're not going to click any
I
further.
read not to interrupt, I read somewhere once that it was kind of mind-boggling to me. It's not the way I think when I buy real estate, okay? But it was people form their impression of whether or not they're going to like the home without ever going inside. They look at the front door, the entryway, what you're saying, the flowers, and you have like 20 seconds to make an impression, or they've just about already made up their mind.
I don't even think it's 20 seconds, honestly. Let's think about the common person who doesn't have a real estate agent and how they're looking for homes. They're going on one of the mass websites like Realtor.com or Zillow, and all they're doing is scrolling. Think about Facebook. I need to see a cute kid or a fluffy dog until I stop, right?
right.
So they're just seeing a bunch of homes and they scroll. Oh, big bright turquoise door, beautiful red flowers, blue sky in the background. Whoa, I'm stopping. Fluffy dog, you know? It's that syndrome in your head that goes, something looks different, I'm going to stop. Everything else looks the same. So what are you doing to think outside the box? Now I just told you like some of my best secrets.
That's all right.
But
That's
no,
why
yeah,
you're here.
exactly.
I want people to
Right.
call you
Yes,
to
you
list
call
them
me.
home. Okay.
But yeah, so you have to get them to stop. You have to get them to open the pictures and look more further.
Okay, now I want you to tell everyone how to get in touch with you.
Oh, it is my pleasure.
Okay.
And you're lucky that I love your son's real estate agent. Otherwise, I'd be taking him out next week. Okay, so you can get a hold of me by social media at welcomehome614, J Kessel-White at kw.com for email, or call me at 614-657-1219. That's my cell phone. Hit me up.
Do it again. Do it again. And for the person who didn't catch it, go ahead.
It is social media, Welcome Home 614. J Kessel-White, KESSELWHITE at kw.com for email. And my cell phone is 614-657-1219. Send me a text. Give me a call. I'm here.
Okay. One of the things that I think is important today, too, because it's a competitive marketplace, is people have to be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of an agent's responsibility, a good agent. Pre-approval letters, like you mentioned.
Right.
Who to take them for financing, understanding their credit, understanding their, what their limits are, what they should, afford, that kind of thing. How do you work with customers there?
So in this market, especially before we even can go out and look at a home, they need to be completely pre-approved.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're just setting them up for failure. I work with great lenders that actually call the listing agents for me on my behalf and for the client and say, this is a very solid client. You will not have a financing issue here. And that is important. They build a relationship with that listing agent on our behalf. So the listing agent feels confident going back to the seller and saying, listen, financing is not going to be an issue. Now we just have to make sure that you did your job with inspection and I did my job with appraisal. After that, we're all good.
Now let's talk about, because I think this is part of being a good agent also. I mean, I'll really date myself. When I would look at writing a real estate contract, I always put contingencies in the contract because I wanted to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, 7 days for my attorney to approve, or,
Yeah.
blah, 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 whatever, the financing contingency. It doesn't appear that you're even allowed to do that today.
We're
Because
more
of the
so
competitive-
removing contingencies rather than adding them. We're actually taking contingencies that the contract holds and voiding them.
Yeah.
So it is a unique situation, but what you want to do is win that contract, but you also want to hold true to your word. There's so many people that I know that are writing contracts. We'll remove the inspections. We'll remove and then just coming back and saying, we changed our mind. This inspection's not great. Well, you asked to remove it. Oh, we're going to get out of contract. And buyers are rushing to get into contract and having essential buyer's remorse. They're not really getting that time to think about, is this really the home I love, or do I have to make a decision in 20 minutes in order to get into this house potentially? So that's something I'm really sure of. I've had opportunities to write multiple offers in the last 2 weeks for buyers of mine, and I'm like, no, I don't think this is the one. I can tell you're not excited. You're writing an offer just to write an offer. Let's not do that. Any day of the week, I mean, my business is going to be built upon referrals and making sure my clients are happy, and there's so many agents that are just putting buyers into homes just because you need to do this now. Hurry up. So
Okay, I would never write a contract without some basic contingencies. I mean, come on. You have to have some sort of inspection.
oh yeah,
Whether it's radon testing or whatever the heck it is. I guess what I'm saying is, another thing that came up in the marketplace is people were competing against all cash offers. Okay? I mean, can somebody who wants financing today compete?
absolutely. The cash offer thing was really serious last year, and I think that people were doing something weird with it. But it's not so much anymore this year. And really, what's happening is the contingencies are still there, such as you're allowed to have an inspection, but it's for education purposes only.
Okay.
We're just not going to ask you to fix the outlets if they're not properly wired. It's more so of a extreme honey-do list rather than hey, I want my house to be perfect when I move in list.
But I mean, as a buyer, not all buyers are not remodelers or
Agreed.
tradesmen. And I think if I was giving somebody advice and they cost me, well, I'll give you an example. I'm not kidding. I had a buddy, he just told me this story in March, and he's down in Florida, and it was just shy of a $700,000 house. And the seller said no inspection clause in the contract, and he walked. He just said, no, there's something wrong here. That's a red flag if you're telling me that.
Yeah.
And I'm out of here. I'm not doing that. So, I mean, I think there are certain basic things, but a good realtor will advise their customer and tell them, even in this market of removing contingencies, these are the ones we don't remove. Is that a correct statement?
Right. And you also need to know what is fair for you. You can remove the request for remedy, but if you don't mind spending $1,000 for the repairs, that's fine too. Remove that contingency, but just know that some of that money will be coming out of your pocket instead of the seller's.
Right.
And if you feel comfortable with that because this is a home you really want to be in, then I think you're still winning.
And along that line, because you mentioned a number, can people put into a contract up to a certain amount?
Yeah, that happens all the time. You can say, I won't ask for any repairs under $1,000.
Okay. Or maybe not to exceed $3,000. Over that, it's your responsibility?
Yeah, I mean, you can really come up with a number that you feel comfortable with. It's just seeing if the seller will accept that.
How much time we have there, mister?
About a minute.
That's it? This went too fast.
When you're having fun.
Tell folks how to get in touch with you once again.
So it's Jennifer Kessel-White with Keller Williams Classic Properties, and my phone number is 614-657-1219. Catch me on social media. Say hi. It goes down in the DM at Welcome Home 614. And also shoot me an email, jkesselwhite@kw.com.
Very good. See, when you're having fun, you said it right.
That's when it happens.
I try to tell people all the time that come on the show, they're nervous, some of them. I go,
Are you intimidating them?
no, I'm not. I don't intimidate anybody. But this goes quicker than you think.
For sure.
You go, well, it's a half hour of talking. They go, half hour? What? I go, it's going to seem like 5 minutes, and that's, well, it's because I had a good guest today, too. Okay, everybody. As I always say, your job today is to go out and make someone else happy. I appreciate you listening, and come join us again next week.